The effects option here, I don't actually mess with this one too much. This is more if you have like, I mean, I would say it's for like older computers that can't really handle having too many effects going on, but honestly, I don't think these things are really all that system intensive to have going. The other concern might be is if you are a person that has like kind of issues with visual things, like maybe they bother your eyes or something like that. That might be something to maybe toggle some of these off. Like, okay, I don't want any animations or anything like that. And there's also window effects you can change here as well. Like I said, I don't really mess with this too much myself, but here is where you can turn off all these options or change them to be however you like. If you want to, change the way that certain things animate slightly, or things like that, or if you don't want things to have any animation effects. I honestly don't even notice them myself because I just leave them, and it doesn't even seem like it's that it doesn't even seem like it's that intense to me. But that's just me. That's not everyone else is able to modify the settings here if they desire or have a need to do so. Font selection, here's one that I like to play with quite a bit. So apologies in advance if this is kind of jarring for anybody, but what I like to use is this text scaling factor down here. I sit pretty far away from my monitor, and I am actually nearsighted, so I actually kind of have to squint, and it's hard to actually see the text sometimes. So I like to bump this up about a couple notches, and you can see what that does is it scales the text everywhere on the screen, except for the desktop. Here is the only place that it's not really scaling it, but you can see down at the bottom the labels got bigger. You can see the clock a lot better. So for me, right about here, from as far away as I sit from my monitor, this looks a lot better. So if you want to do that, you can on your own system maybe, and you can also go the other direction. If you think it's too big, you can make it even smaller. Whatever you need to do there. I like it right about here. This is a little bit easier, and it will be easier hopefully for you guys to see stuff in the recordings as well. I don't usually mess with these too much, the hinting and the anti-aliasing and all that stuff. I usually leave that at its default because it works okay for me, as is. But another thing I like to do though too, desktop font, let me see if that's going to change it. What I do like to do though, in addition to the text scaling factors, I kind of like the title up here, the window title, to be a little bit bigger than the rest, so it kind of stands out a little more. And I also like to change the fonts a lot of times too, because these ones are fine, but you can actually just go in here and click the font name, and it'll say pick a font. So one I like to use is Liberation Sans, and it's there by default. Let's see here. Now it's a little bit harder to see because I did make this a little too large. Let's see. But if you click to drag at the edge of the window, you can make it larger. And so just the Liberation Sans regular. And now you can change the size here as well if you'd like to. So bump it up to 12 and it gets a little bigger. I'm going to just leave it like that for now though. Because the text scaling factor is doing pretty good for the the size of the font for me already. But that's one that I like to change to. Liberation Sans is basically the open source equivalent of Arial or however you pronounce it, which is a really popular sans serif sans serif font, whatever I'm trying to say there. And for me it's a good one. I like it because it's very legible. I like my text to be legible. Yes, it's boring, maybe some people would call it that. That's fine. You're free to choose whatever font you would like, but I just prefer a lot of times sans serif because I just think that they're easier to read on a lot of displays versus a serif font. Personally, I think serif fonts are better for when you have something printed out and you're reading it like on paper or whatever. That's when serif fonts I feel like are better, but that's just my personal opinion. But I like to make things nice and legible, and so I don't have to squint at them like I explained a bit ago. So I'm just going through the process here again of selecting. the fonts, and you can obviously play around with this as quite a bit to customize it how you like. You may not want to use the text scaling factor at all. You may just want to set the font sizes differently here, and that's fine. You can play around with all of that. I leave monospace font alone usually because I don't do much with that personally, but the one thing I did want to do though here for the title one, the window title font, I do like to make it a little larger, and we can just see the effects of that here. If you just click, you can just either click the buttons here to increase it, you can type it, or to the specific number, or you can drag from here, and that works too. We'll just try 14, hit select, and you can see that I made that a little bigger. I might even go a little bit bigger than that because I like the looks of a little bit larger up top there. There we go. So that looks pretty good. Now it kind of like, to me, it really stands out a lot better now. It's like, okay, this is the system settings window, whatever. But you can, obviously these are just what I prefer to do for my own settings. You can obviously change it in different ways if you like for your own system. So. But this is just to show you how, like, this is how you go in, and if you want different fonts, you could change the fonts, and if you like something more artistic looking and not so boring and plain, you can choose some other fancier fonts that are in there, change the sizes all you like, and so on and so forth. And you have these different selections, so the default font, the desktop font, document font, etc. Now let me just see with the desktop font, if I bump this up a little bit, does that change the size of the icon font? Let's see, let's try like 15. Yeah, it does. Okay, that's kind of what I thought, but I wasn't 100% sure there. So for whatever reason, the text scaling factor doesn't seem to apply to the icon fonts themselves, but you can just do this desktop font size a little bit larger if you want to be able to see these a little bit easier. That'll take care of that. So that's the font selection section, and that's some pretty fun stuff that you can change the look and feel. If you enjoyed this video and you want to learn even more, you can find my books at bookstoread.com/Jonathan. That's books, the number 2, read.com/JONATHAN.